fights from now, 6 fights from now, I can put up a fucking awesome fight and we'll see what happens. It could happen 3-4 years from now, but it just makes sense. You know, the 2 biggest names, the 2 highest paid boxers in the sport going at it.
Jake Paul has just given a shocking response to the potential cancellation of his bout with Mike Tyson after a series of failed tests. Adding to the twist, John Kavanagh, one of Conor McGregor's coaches, has questioned if Paul and Tyson have reached a resolution to their boxing match.
60 needs to be fighting, you know, it would appear Jake hits hard, you know, right. He's knocked out a few guys. So I just hope that it is what it is. It's kind of an entertainment thing, and they move around the ring. And, you know, kind of spar. So as long as it's that, thumbs up.
Kavanagh voiced his apprehension over Tyson's continued exposure to head blows, expressing a fervent desire for the impending spectacle to lean more towards a controlled sparring session rather than an all-out brawl. He said, "I don't know whether there's a wink and a nod behind the stage. Is Tyson going to be 60? 58? Full force blows to the head at 58. No, it's not a good idea no matter who you are. You don't need to be doing that. If it was kind of an exhibition and they're kind of sparring, great." John Kavanagh mentioned that he had been asked not just about Mike, but about the phenomenon of YouTube boxing as a whole. He explained that his perspective on the matter had evolved. Rather than looking down on it, he now appreciates anything that encourages more young people to participate in sports. He added, "I was asked about not necessarily just Mike, but this kind of YouTube boxing stuff, and my take on it now, rather than being snobby about it, is I just love anything that gets more kids involved in sports." Kavanagh expressed particular support for combat sports, such as boxing, wrestling, and mixed martial arts, among others. He acknowledged that if Jake Paul is effectively increasing attendance at local boxing gyms, then that aligns somewhat with what they are trying to accomplish. He added, "Great if it's combat sports, boxing, wrestling, mixed martial arts, or whatever the case may be. If Jake Paul is doing a good job of filling local boxing gyms, that's a little bit of what we're trying to do." Chael Sonnen recently emphasized the necessity of elucidating the significance of the upcoming bout and its stakes. He pointed out that Iron had been presented with alternative matchups previously, yet opted to venture into the realm of boxing, jeopardizing his standing, all to face the problem child. He remarked,
"That's a part of the story they need to tell. But they need to, as they're telling it, say it's not just about the money. Of course it's about the money. When they're saying it's not about the money, they need to back that up with something. And Mike does have something to back that up with, which is he's turned down bigger paydays. I personally don't know why he accepted the fight with Paul. But there's a reason, and I would love to know what it is. I would love to know what about that got him off the couch."
Chael Sonnen added that when individuals claim it's not about the money, they understand the need to substantiate that statement. He noted that Mike Tyson had declined opportunities for larger paydays and expressed his personal bewilderment regarding Tyson's acceptance of the fight with Paul, stating his eagerness to uncover the rationale behind it.
Ouch. Not to mention he doesn't have a ton of time. And the embarrassment that a great like Mike Tyson would suffer if he was to lose to a guy with limited experience. I can stop you right there. Doesn't have to be Jake Paul.
Furthermore, Sonnen highlighted the limited time frame involved and the potential embarrassment a renowned athlete like Mike Tyson would face if he were to lose to someone with relatively minimal experience. Sonnen then suggested that Paul might be leveraging this move to grab the spotlight of Canelo Alvarez. He expressed his belief that Paul has the potential to transform into a formidable antagonist within the realm of sports, particularly if he secures a commanding victory against a renowned figure such as Tyson. Sonnen articulated, "If Jake Paul can do a good enough job of smearing Mike's face in it. Now to do that, he's going to have to be extremely hated. If Jake made this a standpoint of, I own boxing. I just showed boxing. I just stuck it to boxing, there would be the door for Canelo Alvarez to walk in and say, no, you didn't. I am now going to come out and I am going to save boxing." UFC heavyweight interim champion Tom Aspinall has also expressed his reservations about the upcoming match. During a recent conversation with OLBG, Tom Aspinall, the UFC's interim heavyweight champion, shared his apprehensions about Tyson's comeback to the ring at his advanced age. He said, "Training for a fight gives you so much discipline and health and confidence and all that good stuff. So if Mike Tyson's training, that's fantastic because he obviously is getting up there in age, but he still looks great." Aspinall underscored the impact of enduring years of absorbing blows on a boxer's well-being. While acknowledging that preparing for a match instills discipline and self-assurance, he expressed reservations regarding the potential hazards accompanying Tyson's comeback to the ring. Aspinall particularly emphasized Tyson's advancing age and the substantial wear and tear from his lengthy tenure in boxing as worrisome factors. He added, "But as far as getting punched in the head, after all the getting punched in the head he's done over the years, I'd rather not see it, I guess. It's meant to be entertainment, I guess, but it's not my scene." The UFC fighter acknowledged that while many may find Tyson's return to the ring entertaining, he personally doesn't find it appealing. Making a parallel to individual tastes in sports, Aspinall highlighted his indifference towards boxing as a spectator, equating it to his lack of interest in tennis. According to Aspinall, some people love tennis. That's everything to them. For me, very little interest in tennis, and it's the same for this. I'm sure people will watch, but I don't enjoy this stuff. Now, we know that Jake Paul has vehemently refuted any suggestion of donning headgear for his upcoming bout. However, while this detail is certain, many other aspects of the highly anticipated July 20th fight remain shrouded in uncertainty, possibly leaving fans hoping for a conventional boxing spectacle disappointed. According to USA Today, the guidelines for the showdown may encompass the subsequent stipulations. The use of 16-ounce boxing gloves rather than the traditional 10-ounce gloves Tyson used to deliver some of the most devastating knockouts in boxing history. 2-minute rounds rather than 3-minute rounds. No official judges to score the fight. Taylor Mange, the communications manager at the Texas Department of Licensing and Regulations, explained that if the bout is categorized as an exhibition instead of a sanctioned professional match, specific regulations would then be applicable. She said, "If the bout is designated as an exhibition rather than a sanctioned professional match, these regulations would apply." The impending decision rests on the shoulders of TDLR's interim executive director, Brian E. Francis, who will weigh inputs and counsel from the TDLR combative sports team, Mange explained. She also said that a Texas exhibition bout necessitates bulkier boxing gloves, briefer rounds, and a lack of judging. Holden Boxing LLC, the renowned promoter in the ring, has officially put in the request for an electrifying event slated for July 20th, as confirmed by Mange. But Mange said, "We have not received any proposed fight cards and thus have no details about what they are planning. All bouts are subject to review and approval by the Texas Department of Licensing and Regulation." Promoters are required to submit their conclusive lineup of matches 21 days prior to the event, in accordance with Mange's regulations. A promoter has the option to petition for either an exhibition match or a sanctioned professional bout. It's anticipated that Holden Boxing will pursue a sanctioned professional fight. Mange explained, "It's pretty common for a promoter to request a date several months out, but not immediately provide the proposed card. They want to be sure that they've secured the date with us, since we'll have to make sure we have appropriate staffing available for any event." After the publication of the story, Mange said, "The promoter will need to submit proposed cards before we determine whether a particular contest would be considered as an exhibition or a professional fight, or how a proposed exhibition might be structured. After the fight cards are received," Mange said, "the combative sports staff evaluates the fight records of the combatants to ensure fighters of approximate skills are paired fairly. In addition, combatants are obliged to complete essential medical examinations, with individuals aged 36 and above mandated to furnish satisfactory findings from both an electroencephalogram and an electrocardiogram, as stipulated by Mange. An EEG serves to assess brain disorders, while an EKG is employed to identify issues pertaining to the heart's functioning." Mange said, "We can also request additional testing if we think it's appropriate." In 2020, Tyson engaged in an 8-round exhibition bout against Roy Jones Jr. in Los Angeles. This match occurred following the California State Athletic Commission's decision to disallow a sanctioned professional fight. "I thought an exhibition was appropriate," said Andy Foster, executive director of the commission, who cited the age and activity of the boxers as factors. The guidelines for the exhibition mandated rounds lasting 2 minutes, a duration often associated with women's matches, for a contest hosted at the venue formerly known as the Staples Center, now rebranded as Crypto.com Arena. Jones said before the fight of the 2-minute rounds, "I'm not happy at all. That's for women. Why are we doing 2-minute rounds?" Tyson also made a point of mentioning that women's matches typically employ rounds lasting for 2 minutes. But in referring to the California State Athletic Commission, Tyson also said, "I'm sure they have their reasons for doing it." Kathy Duva, an esteemed boxing promoter enshrined in the International Boxing Hall of Fame in 2019, posited that Tyson would hold an advantage in the 2-minute rounds due to reduced energy expenditure. "The legs are always the first to go," she said of aging fighters. "The less time on those legs, the better." Duva expressed her belief that Paul could gain an advantage from utilizing 16-ounce gloves, commonly employed in training sessions, as they are thought to exert less force upon impact compared to the 10-ounce variety. "The heavier gloves could neutralize Tyson's signature power punches," Duva said. However, she added, "You can still knock somebody out with the torque that you generate if you hit them on the chin the right way, and Tyson has hit a lot of chins." Cameron Davies, a boxing promoter hailing from San Antonio, confidently asserted that after discussions with a significant figure in the Texas combatants sports team, it is highly probable that the Tyson-Paul bout will be designated as an exhibition match. Davies expressed near certainty, stating that Tyson's extensive experience and formidable power would likely dominate Paul if the bout were to be sanctioned as a professional fight. Davies said, "All I've been told is that the the combative sports staff have to be able to maintain the safety of the fighters. I promise you, they can strip my promoters and managers' license if I'm wrong. There's no way in hell they will ever make this a sanctioned fight. For those who don't know, the TDLR rules state, combative sports promoters must strictly adhere to the rules and regulations concerning the combative sports industry in Texas, which has the most comprehensive set of industry safety measures in the United States today. Meanwhile, 2 concussion specialists suggest that Tyson may face heightened vulnerability to concussions due to his extensive boxing career, encompassing 56 bouts and 2 knockout losses. Charles Bernick, a neurologist with the Cleveland Clinic Lou Ruvo Center for Brain Health, said, I think the things that a person might be concerned about in any individual case is 1. What damage to the brain has been accumulated so far through their lifetime, particularly a former fighter. Stephen Broglio, director of the Concussion Center and Neurotrauma Research at the University of Michigan, said, once you've had one injury, you're more likely to have a second, and once you've had a second, you're more likely to have a third type of thing. Both researchers concurred that Tyson would have the upper hand with 2-minute rounds. However, neither advocated for the implementation of exhibition regulations. Broglio added, I would leave it up to the commission to make the choice as to whether or not Tyson is at such great risk that it is not safe for him to fight in a competition, and it needs to be an exhibition. Without knowing the details of everything in that file or in that application, there's way for me to really judge. Amidst the skepticism surrounding this unconventional pairing, Netflix is making waves in the sports realm with its exclusive broadcast of the upcoming fight. With Netflix having a staggering global subscriber base exceeding 250 million, Nakisa Badarian, Paul's associate, hails this as a significant milestone. Despite critics voicing concerns over the fight's quality, citing the substantial 30-year age difference between the contenders and Tyson's pre-existing health issues like sciatica, Badarian swiftly counters their skepticism by leveraging the influence of Netflix. On X, he mentioned, Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson gives combat sports its largest single distribution platform in history. Debate the fight all you want, which is exactly what we want, but equally accept that this is a great opportunity to bring boxing to the masses. More fight announcements are coming soon. Moreover, he affirmed the imminent announcement of additional bouts. With the backing of Netflix's vast subscriber base exceeding 250 million, a significant opportunity arises for their venture into boxing streaming. Netflix's strides in the realm of sports are noteworthy, and this fight marks yet another advancement in its pursuit of expanding live sports streaming offerings. After the fight was announced, Gabe Spitzer, VP of Nonfiction Sports for Netflix, said, Mike Tyson is one of the biggest icons in boxing history, and Jake Paul is one of the biggest disruptors in boxing history. Saturday, July 20th, will be pure drama in the ring in Texas. We can't wait for these two to face off for fans all across the world on Netflix. A boxing match between Paul and Tyson was allegedly expected to bring in $300 million. In a previous interview with The Journey, Paul had forecasted substantial earnings from a potential bout with Iron Mike, citing its appeal to 2 distinct fan bases as a major revenue driver.
What about Mike Tyson, the greatest heavyweight ever to fight in boxing? He obviously still wants to fight and throw some hands around. You're young, he's a little bit older, but we know that guy has knockout power. Is that a fight that Jake Paul would step up to?
Yeah, for sure.
Jake Paul mentioned that he often jokes with his friends, saying he might start indulging in Krispy Kreme donuts to move up to heavyweight and fight Mike Tyson. He expressed genuine excitement about the idea, considering it a potential $200 to $300 million event.
For sure. I joke with my friends about it. I'm like, I'll start eating Krispy Kreme donuts and move up to heavyweight and take on Mike Tyson. I think that would actually excite me, and that's a $200 million event, $300 million event.
Addressing Mike Tyson directly, he suggested having some fun by pitching new school against old school, believing it's an encounter the fans would be eager to witness.
So, Mike, bro, if you're watching this, let's have some fun. New school versus old school, and I think that's something that the fans would want to see.
Paul has never been dropped in 10 professional fights and has challenged Tyson to try and become the first man to put him down. In a recent interview, he said, I want to see how hard he hits. Let's see all the legends, the myths, because you're Mike Tyson, but I have an iron chin. People know that. I take shots. I think people are underestimating me for being able to deal with his power. Paul added that he acknowledges taking on a significant challenge, describing it as undoubtedly the toughest opponent he could face, emphasizing that power is the last attribute to fade with age. Paul said, I am biting off a lot. This is definitely the toughest, most savage, lethal opponent, regardless of age, because power is the last thing to go. The reaction reaction and reception of it is insane. Expressing his gratitude for the overwhelming support, he conveyed his excitement and anticipation for the moment when he would face his opponent across the ring, ready to deliver a fierce stare. Paul said, "I almost can't even believe it. So very surreal and very, very grateful for all of that. We're going to see. I'm excited. I literally can't wait to look across the ring and see him and give him a fucking death stare." Meanwhile, Jake Paul's recent training sessions with Olympians serve as a stark reminder that he remains a formidable threat to Tyson's legacy. Paul surprised the boxing community with a lifestyle more reminiscent of a party animal than a serious contender, drawing comparisons to Ryan Garcia's past antics. In this connection, Jake Paul told the world, "Psych, you really thought I was partying? We're up here, high-altitude Colorado Springs, with the Olympians, Team USA boxers. Let's get it. I'm coming for you, Mike." Additionally, he captioned his post, "He may be stronger, he may be more experienced, but he will not outwork me. That I guarantee you." Training with Olympians at 6,000 feet. Amidst the spectacle of Paul's brazen pre-fight revelry, many fans confidently predicted Tyson's swift victory over the self-proclaimed problem child, speculating that the match might not even last 2 rounds. However, in the unpredictable world of boxing, appearances can often deceive, and underestimating a challenger based on surface observations can lead to unforeseen outcomes. Here is the complete video of Paul.
"Psych! You really thought I was partying? We out here, high altitude, Colorado Springs, with the Olympians, Team USA boxing. Let's get it. Let's go." I'm coming for you, Mike.
As you can see, Paul has been quietly honing his boxing skills alongside elite athletes from Team USA at the prestigious Colorado Springs Olympic and Paralympic Training Center. Joining him in this rigorous training regimen are Jennifer Lozano from Laredo, Texas, Jamal Harvey, hailing from Oxon Hill, Maryland, Jajaira Gonzalez, representing Glendora, California, Morel McCain from Cleveland, Ohio, and Joshua Edwards of Houston, Texas.
What's up, man? How are you, Jake? Nice to meet you as well. How are you?
All right, good high intensity. All right, let's get it going. USA, come on.
Gold medal on me, gold medal on 3. 1, 2, 3, gold medal!
With stakes this high, it's no surprise that Paul is expected to dedicate himself wholeheartedly to his training regimen in preparation for this monumental showdown. Nevertheless, the problem child made the bold choice to emulate Ryan Garcia's path. Consequently, while Mike showcased his prowess diligently striking the pads within the gym, Jake Paul indulged in revelry and libations. Capitalizing on Garcia's antics, Jake Paul kicked off his training regime with a celebratory event. Sharing the experience on Instagram stories, the problem child dubbed his approach the King Ryan training regimen. Mike Tyson, on the other hand, was observed striking the mitts with great force. Here is a complete comparison between the two.
St. Martin, day 1 of training.
It's day 1, the fun just begun.
In a recent disclosure, Paul unveiled that prior to sealing the bout with Tyson, he had been actively advocating for a rematch with Tommy Fury. Last year, Paul faced his sole boxing loss against the former Love Island contestant. Since then, he had been eager for a rematch, but negotiations eventually fell through. Paul said, "Most valuable promotions, me and Nakisa Badarian, had been trying to find the right fight, the right time frame, the right event." As the narrative unfolds, the Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson bout remains a testament to boxing's enduring allure and its capacity to evolve, challenge, and entertain in an ever-changing cultural landscape. So that's all from today's video. If you enjoyed it, remember to leave a like, subscribe, and ring that bell icon so you never miss our upcoming videos.